Okay, I'm finishing with Kit Kennedy. I fixed my ponytail. I came downstairs, changed the lighting a bit. I'm using the best equipment that I can. I'm finishing Ask Not, and we're not quite halfway through this book yet, and I know there are other channels ahead of me. However, I like to read at my own pace, and it will be done by September 30th because we have a raffle October the 1st. And you know what? I think we should just do a live at the end on October the 1st. We should do a live, and I can throw out some questions, and whoever feels did the best, or whoever actually does get the most points, you win an Amazon card. And no, it's not through donating here. I don't even monetize. I do it as a thank you to you. Okay? Now, considering I started with The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which if I had continued, I might add, I would have, that was such a mistake. And it's all what you're passionate about too. But Kit Kennedy, they're talking about Kit Kennedy and Joe Kennedy. And do you remember, I remember somebody said to me, you can't do the accent. But that one clip where I imitated, like thus far, you know what we've read? I'll tell you. We haven't really gotten into the stories. We've only gotten through the characters. So by all means, hey, if you've just swung by this channel and watched a couple of minutes or so, I appreciate it. And if you give it a like and a comment, there might be somebody that might like me better than you. So it gives it a little bit of a boost. But stick around a little longer. You might be surprised. Okay, seriously though, we've read, let's finish Kit Kennedy. And then after this, let's review some of the women and some of the chapters. I want to do that for my own recall. And if you want to join in and hang about for it, great. If you don't, fine. If you comment, great. If you don't, fine. I'm not asking anymore. I ask not anymore. Everybody on YouTube knows what to do by now, so why even repeat it? Like, I know people forget sometimes, but really? Or am I that just addicted to YouTube? Anyway, okay. So I described Kick and quiet that would not long last. So, okay, each night they were drinking away the looming specter of Hitler and the approaching horrors. All you can hear or talk about at this point is the future war which is bound to come. Kick wrote in September 1938, and I said in my last video, yeah, I did read this book and I know all about it. It's just reading out loud is a very different animal. And then just trying to keep on track because you want to interject your thoughts all the time, but you can't. But I will at the end. All right, so war would mean going back to the States, okay? It would mean losing Billy. Before Billy, Kick had a singular kingship with her mother, Rose. No other Kennedy child defended Rose from Joe's constant womanizing. Now, that loyalty seemed to mean nothing. Kick knew her mother might not approve of Billy's religion, but she never anticipated her mother's cruelty. She never anticipated her mother disowning her. After all, Rose's own parents hadn't approved of Joe Kennedy, but she'd married him anyway. Was this some particular grievance that Rose had against Kik? Was Kik too much like the boys, Jack especially? How would Rose believe in God? A God that would judge another based on a mere denomination. And Billy's father was as aghast as the romance, as Rose Kennedy. The Devonshires were anti-Catholic. Billy and Kik were, in essence, a Montague and a Capulet. How could their parents care about such things now with their young lives at stake? The world as they knew it connecting toward the abyss. For there were no questions that when war came, Billy would serve in combat. There was also no question that Ambassador Kennedy would order his children back to the States, adults or not, once war broke out. What a scary, when you just think about that whole time, putting the Kennedys aside, that was a very scary time. And I want people, as this to be a lesson, that history repeats itself. And I will save that for the end of this reading. So as you can tell, the Kennedys go way back, Joe and Kik, and they had their children, Joe and Rose and Jack and Ted and Bobby. Did I miss anybody? Okay, sorry. I've read all of this, okay, but I'm just going to read it. In fall 1939, 18 months after docking in England, Kik was back in America. Her first salvo was a thank you letter to her father for giving me one of the greatest experiences anyone could have had. She did not reference the terror she'd experienced in anticipation of the Blitz. London began going dark in September 1939, a zombie city at night. Serial bombings imminent. And if anybody doesn't know what imminent means, it's imminent danger, which means it's something that they were always in danger of and would come to fruition. Imminent danger you can use in law as saying, well, somebody shot their parents because they thought they were in imminent danger, which means there could be future harm. But when they say imminent danger here, they mean literally bombed. Her first salvo was a thank you letter, I already read this, to her father for giving me one of the greatest experiences anyone could have had. She did not reference the terror she'd experienced. Okay. 1939, zombie city at night, serial bombings. Okay, all right. The moon shines through. The moon was Billy. Kik bided her time in New York, returning to her former life as just a Kennedy girl, no longer the brash American whose worldview had been broadened and deepened by her British friends, all of whom were one, oh my God, stress lines. And for those of you who know me, you know what I'm talking about. Thank God my mother's here. There was still nowhere she'd rather be than in London, okay? Now, Kik bided her time in New York, returning to the former life as just a Kennedy girl, no longer the brash American whose